Hello everyone, your girl Bookseller Colleen back by popular demand. Just kidding, nobody's really demanding that I make these videos. I'm just doing it because I miss talking about books with people. So if you watch them, hi, happy to have you. If not, that is also totally fine. Do whatever makes you happy. Making these videos makes me happy, so I'm gonna keep on doing it, darn it. Anyways, last week I had talked to you about 3 of my favorite young adult fantasy novels, so I decided to talk to you about 3 of my favorite young adult contemporary novels. I wanted to get these on your radar, that way you can pick them up if you're interested. So if any of these pique your interest, feel free to check them out, and I hope that you enjoy them as much as I did. It would be a crime to myself if I did not recommend this author at all. She is one of my favorite young adult contemporary authors. Her books are a huge comfort read for me. Her name is Sarah Dessen. Sarah Dessen has been writing young adult books since I think the 90s. I started reading her books when I was like 12 or 13. It's just, it's the best. They almost always take place during the summer on the beach. For this one, the rest of the story, it actually takes place on the lake. This is Sarah's most recent release, and it did not disappoint at all. I loved this book. It's definitely one of my top favorites. And it tells the story of a girl, Emma Saylor, who has basically lived her whole life, just her and her dad. Her parents split up when she was very young, and her mother unfortunately passed away when she was 12 due to a long-lasting battle with a drug addiction. So she doesn't really know a lot about her mom. She has some memories, but not that many. And she doesn't know a lot about her mom's side of the family because of all of the drama that had kind of existed when she was young. So she hasn't seen her mom's family in a really, really long time. The last time she saw them was one summer when she was 6. She went to stay with them, and that's it. So this story starts off the summer that her father gets remarried. And when Emma's lodging situation falls apart for when her dad and new stepmom are on their honeymoon, they have to go to the last resort, which is for Emma to stay with her mom's family on the lake where they grew up. And so now Emma is in this situation where she gets to spend all of this time with a family that she basically knows nothing about, and they know nothing about her. So it's this journey of her getting to know them, and also getting to know about her mom and her dad and how they met one summer on the lake where she is now, and just learning to know how to be a part of this whole other family. It's really a beautiful story. There are some heavy parts of it, but for the most part it's just a nice summer story of romance and family, and just learning to accept and move on from the not so great moments of your past. This, like I said, is Sarah's most recent book. Came out last year and will be available in paperback on May 5th. So depending on when this video comes out, I'm not sure, but if it's May 5th or after, it's available in paperback, so definitely check it out. The cover looks a little bit different, but definitely has that nice summer lakeside vibe, so I really like it. And the next book I have is The Last True Poets of the Sea. Can we just take a second to appreciate this beautiful cover? And this is by Julia Drake, her debut novel. Last True Poets is the story of Violet Larkin, who lives in New York City with her family, and she is kind of known as the troublemaker. She is super into the party scene, hanging out with a lot of the wrong people who are kind of getting her into trouble. But all of that comes to a halt one summer when her younger brother Sam attempts to take his own life. So there is that, a little disclaimer, it does kind of hit on those heavy topics. And while Sam is spending the summer at a treatment center in Vermont, Violet's parents essentially say that they are not emotionally able to handle Violet's problematic behavior. So they decide to have her spend the summer in Lyric, Maine with her uncle. Lyric, Maine is actually the town that Violet's great-great-great-grandmother founded, so she's kind of a celebrity. But she doesn't really want to have anything to do with anybody there. She's dealing with a lot internally, so she kind of wants to not socialize with anybody. But she is kind of forced to take this job at the local aquarium, where she meets a super cute boy, Orion, and wants to woo him, but instead joins his little misfit band of friends. And while she is forming these new friendships and relationships with this group of people, she is also going on a journey to start to face and process what has happened with her brother. And the story kind of turns into a coming of age journey of learning to love yourself and also learning to accept love from others when you believe that you are unlovable. So it is a very heartwarming story, emotional as well. Like I said, it does hit some heavy topics, but also funny. And it's riddled with aquatic puns. There's this song called Blue Lobster that's set to this the tune of Moon River. So there are heavy moments, but then you turn the page and it's a nice light moment. So it was just really good and I love it. And last but not least comes one of my favorite young adult books ever, which is There's Something About Sweetie by Jia Menon. I love Sanjia's books. They're what I always like to call literary comfort food, where it's just like a nice YA romantic comedy. And this tells the story of Ashish Patel and Sweetie Nair. They're both going through their own version of, I guess, a teen life crisis. Ashish has just recently been dumped by his long-term girlfriend, and he is kind of in that emotional broody stage where he doesn't believe in love and is just a super cynic. And then there is Sweetie, who is this awesome, bright, sassy, sunshiny person who is just so wonderful. And yet the only thing that her parents can focus on is that she is unlovable because she is fat. And she is on this journey of trying to prove to them that she is worthy of love. And even if she's not, she's still amazing. So essentially what happens is that Ashish's parents decide to set him up with Sweetie. And Ashish and Sweetie decide to pretend to go with it and start fake dating each other. And you know how that goes with these types of romantic comedy stories, is once they start fake dating, it starts to feel kind of real for Ashish and Sweetie, and they start to actually develop real feelings for each other, which makes things way more complicated. And of course they don't want to tell each other because they don't know the other person has feelings for them. So it's just this really cute, funny, romantic story about two people who both have something to prove and end up finding love along the way. And that's all I have for you today, folks. So like I said, we got these 3 books for me to recommend. So definitely check them out on our website if you are interested. If you've read them before, let me know in the comments and let me know what you think. And I will be probably posting another recommendation video soon. If there's anything that you want me to recommend, let me know. I've also been really bad about this, but please check out all of the other stuff that An Unlikely Story is posting. We have some other great bookseller recommendations. We have this thing called a bookseller chat where a bunch of us are reuniting because we all miss each other through the interwebs and just talking about books and non-book things. And we've got my pal Elise, who is doing these awesome book recommendations and also a craft that's related to the book. We've got some awesome recipes that our cafe people are posting about. We've got awesome virtual events that are happening, so please feel free to follow us on all of our social media stuff, which is An Unlikely Story. Every single time I talk about our social media, I always am unsure of what it is, but for the most part, if you look up at An Unlikely Story on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, will probably show up. Check out our website, anunlikelystory.com, for updates on our events and also just bookseller recommendations. And I think that's all I have for you guys. So thank you again for letting me talk about books with you, and I hope to see you around soon. Hope you're all doing well, and happy reading. Bye.